Welcome everybody to the NBA DFS Pre-Lock Show, Win Daily Sports. I'm Tony. This is Nick. I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. As always, follow us at Win Daily Sports on all social formats, windailysports.com. Hit the subscription button, hit the like button. You know the deal. You know the drill. But Nick, I almost download the 76ers song today because this is Harden Day. This is Sixers Day, man. And unfortunately, I got to say this because I knew, listen, I called this and I hate it, right? I hate that I called it. I said, and I don't know if you remember, and anybody listening remember, I said, if they're going to lose one of these back-to-backs, please let them lose to Cleveland. Because if they lose against Miami, the first thing the national narrative is going to say, oh, here we go. The first time they play somebody good, they can't hang with them. They had no James Harden. I knew this was going to happen. But you know what? I don't care. It's Philly. We don't care what anybody says. So I am all in on this team. Nick, I know it's one of your highlight games tonight. Again, make sure you're reading that article as well. We're not going to rehash this, but are the Sixers going to get back on a snide tonight? Are they going to get back on a winning trail? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think I'd see them favored by 7 in this spot. Not going to lie. I know they're at home, but I think 7's a pretty big number. So it's just an indication of the respect that they're getting right away off the bat, the acquisition of James Harden, and rightfully so. You know, it's playing that Miami defense is no joke. I've been saying that for years, been saying that all the season, saying the same narrative that Miami's defense is legit, man. So
it is.
Seeing Embiid going 4 for 15 or 4 for 16, whatever he shot in that game, that's what it is. You're going to have to earn your points against Miami, and they will beat you in these 100 to 98 games in the playoffs. So that's what it's going to come down to. They had no James Harden, so automatically that game gets crossed off. And tonight they're going to get back on track. It's a really good matchup for them. Chicago's defense has been a funnel lately, and these Eastern Conference matchups often get overlooked. You look at the 2-game slate on, I think it was on Saturday, with Boston playing Brooklyn, and everyone went to Milwaukee versus Phoenix with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Cam Johnson. Everyone was out on Phoenix, and everyone loaded up on that game. But these Eastern Conference heavyweight games often get overlooked, and tonight it's going to be the exact same thing. I love this game a lot.
Yeah, they were swarming Joel Embiid. I mean, swarming. Let me ask you. You just said a couple things. Let me ask you a couple questions. Number one, I'm a big Tyler Hero fan. I love the kid's game. He's been so consistent this year. 35, 36 minutes a game. He beats you off the dribble. He's got a really good shot. Is this kid for real? I mean, can we just look at him as one of the bright stars in the NBA?
Yeah, I've been saying that since the beginning, and anybody that was with us with Tyler Hero in the bubble knows how I feel about Tyler Hero. We had the showdown, craziest clip ever, man. It was Tyler Hero off the bench and put him in the captain spot, and it was one of those games where he just went off. And
oh, that's awesome.
It's probably one of the biggest wins that we've had over the years. Everyone was in 5 figures that night, but it was just Tyler Hero is just so dynamic offensively, and with the season that he had last year, everyone was kind of like, oh, you know, should have traded him while the trade value was high and this and that. Bro, it's just a sophomore slump. It's fine. It happens to the majority of NBA players. You look at where Ja was last year, where he is now, and not to say that it was a slump or anything, but it's what it is, man. They're in their early 20s, if that, and everyone's gonna come around the corner, and that's just what it is. Like, if it wasn't for, like, I have a hard time giving most improved player award to already established NBA players. Like, even when Pascal Siakam won it a couple years ago, like, and Giannis won it, and like, I understand that when players end up taking this leap to like superstardom, if that, I'm making up words here on the fly there, but I guess I could say superstardom there. Like, I understand Ja, you know, being a favorite for most improved player, but you look at what Tyler Hero is doing, and it's like, how can you not give him the award after the season that he had last season, or even 6th man of the year, same concept, right? Like, he's such a key cog for that Miami offense, man, when he comes off the bench, because a lot of times if Duncan Robinson's shot is not dropping, he's immediately taken out of the game. Yep. And it's Tyler Hero all game long. And this Miami offense is, I don't want to say it's criminally underrated, like, it's not to that point, but it's pretty underrated, man, because everyone thinks high octane offenses. They think of Philly now. They think of Milwaukee with Giannis. They think of Luka as a one-man offense. They think of Trae Young. They think of Steph Curry. They think of LeBron. They think of Jokic. You know, like, But when you see Miami out there and they have 4 ball handlers on the court at the same time, it's just so hard to stop. And that's why I think they're going to make a deep playoff run too. We'll get into that as we get closer to the playoffs. I'm sure we'll have some good discussions about that. But I love Tyler Hero's game, and I can't wait to see what he does in the playoffs against these mismatches. Like you're going to have Hero on the court with Lowry and Butler at the same time. Like that's a lot of guys that can beat you on the dribble. They could beat you with their shot. They could find the mid-range. Lowry's developed a 3-point shot in the last 5 years in his career. Like, it's going to be a really tough team to beat in a 7-game series.
It is. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm more worried about Miami as a Philadelphia than I am Milwaukee, just because I think that triple threat, man, that's pretty good.
And teams should be, man. Like, it's like, I understand Chicago's been having a rough go. Chicago is also a team that I wouldn't really be, jumping out of the gate, say, oh, I want to play Chicago in the first round. I want to play Chicago in the second round. Like the playoffs are just a different beast. And I know Chicago has a lot of guys that it's the opposite of been there, done that. They haven't been there or done that. Like Zach Lavine is not, an established playoff star. Neither is Nikola Vucevic, obviously spending the majority of his career in Orlando. Guy never had a chance. And then DeRozan, same thing, chasing a ring with Lowry already having one now. Like they're not exactly a team that people are scared of, but you should be, because when it comes to that 4-man rotation with Lonzo Ball, when he gets back into this lineup, that's going to be scary, man. Like the playoffs are down to 7, 8-man rotations, if that, unless you're Doc Rivers. He insists on playing 16 guys in the playoffs. But that, like, every team goes down to 7 guys, maybe 8. Like if you're Utah, you can do 8. If you're Phoenix, you can do 8 kind of thing. But most teams go down to 7. And when those 7 guys consist of Duncan Robinson, who's a top 5 3-point shooter in the league, alongside Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero and Kyle Lowry, Victor Oladipo making his debut, like he's got just over a month to get into game shape and be a contributor off the bench for them in the playoffs too. Like that's a lot of firepower, man. They can make a serious deep run. And when they're holding teams in 2022 to 82 points, whether James Harden is on the court or not, that's it. You got to give Miami credit where credit is due. That's an impressive feat that you're holding an NBA team to 82 points in 2022.
That is. That's the first thing I noticed. It's the first thing I noticed.
It's no joke. Whether Harden's on the court or not, even if they would have held the Pistons to 82 points, the Trailblazers had a G League team where 90% of their rosters on 2-way contracts, and they put up 90. They got absolutely waxed off the court by 30 in that game, but they still put up 90 points. Philadelphia put up 82, and Embiid was playing in that game. Let's cut Philly some slack here. That's a huge credit to Miami's defense. That just goes to show what they can do in a 7-game series, especially on their home court. Yeah. On their home court.
Absolutely, I completely agree. I mean, they're a gritty team. Any team that has veterans that can still ball like Lowry and Jimmy Butler, man, it says a lot. Like you said, that the playoffs are a different animal, man. It's an old person's game in the playoffs, and I say that respectfully because they know the grind and what to expect. So it's a reason why they take games off and they rest half the games and things of that nature to get ready. And shout out at our 3P for Adam taking care of the chat for us. You'll see Adam's all in YouTube answering questions on Discord. So shout out to him. We thank him for that. Let me ask you one more thing, Ghost, before we get into chords and stuff, because I see my boy B checking in. Says, also, Jigsaw, I love your Eagles. I think you meant to say Sixers all day, but your coach going to cost you the finals. He had another comment above that about Boston. And I want to, because every time there's, again, we've been through a lot in Philly. So I was a big Jason Tatum guy. I wanted no part of Markelle Fultz. Unfortunately, we draft Fultz and Boston gets Tatum. And obviously the rest is history, right? Jason Tatum is like single-handedly carrying the Celtics on his back to where they are right now. And he just gets better, Ghost. I honestly, I don't know if it's just me, but, and again, I'm a Duke hater. I'm going to throw that out there right now because I can't stand Coach K.
Brian won't like that. Won't like that.
I know. He knows. I can't stand Coach K. Shout out Coach K for your last game. All due respect. I can't stand you, though. That being said, maybe that's why, it's really hard for me to say I love Jason Tatum. But, Ghost, his game, wow, man. Right now it's just on another level right now. With Brad Stevens, that they could be a force. I'm not going to say they're going to go obviously all the way, but they're going to give people some problems in the playoffs. They really are.
They will. And the key for them is I don't even know where I want to see them seated, because if they could land a first round matchup with the Bulls or the Cavs somehow, that could be a series that they win. They're not going to get top 3 to play the Raptors or the Hornets or whoever wins the playing game. Like they're not going to be able to get one of those top 2 spots. That's for sure. So they need to, if they face the Bucks, it's a wash. If they, like, the 2 teams that I could see them possibly beating would be the Cavs or the Bulls. Even that, it would be tough matchups there. Like I would rather play the Cavs than the Bulls at this point. But man, like I've been saying this for years, and I keep hearing over and over again, especially from Boston. Like I don't know what it is. Like I don't know if there's anyone in chat from Boston. I mean this with the utmost respect. Like I love Boston. I almost went to school there, and like I love it. I love Boston. Your sports fans are crazy. Whether they're Bruins fans, whether they're Celtics fans, whether they're Patriots fans, Boston sports fans are just like it's another level compared to even compared to Philly. And Philly sports fans are pretty tough. And Boston's like another level. And I keep hearing, let's build around Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. And bro, that to me, I turned 25 on Saturday. That to me makes my hair go white. Like, why on earth would you want to build around Jaylen Brown over Jason Tatum? When Philly traded for that number 1 pick, I don't know if it was on this show. I don't know if I was doing it at the time. But I remember saying that they better have traded number 1 to grab Jason Tatum. Because when you watched him at Duke and you watched him in the tournament and you watched him in the conference tournament and everything, bro, he was just so dominant. He was so dominant at a collegiate level, and you knew that his game was going to translate well. He was finding the mid-range. He was way more aggressive back then too. And he's like, now he's got this 3-point shot going too. It was like kind of there in college, not all that much. He's got it going now. And I can't wait to see where he gets in like 2 years from now.
Oh, I can't wait.
He's such an underrated defender too. He's a really good defender. He's a very good defender. I don't want to say he's a great defender. He's not at that level yet, but he's a very good defender. And
yeah, he is.
I remember when Philly traded for number 1. I said, if you're trading in the top 3, you either get Jason Tatum or you trade out. Because that draft class was such a disaster. I was like, you can't have a top 3 pick in this draft if you're not getting Jason Tatum. And when they traded to number 1, I said, beautiful. Philadelphia's getting Jason Tatum.
I knew it wasn't happening.
It's going to be wild. Him and Embiid is going to be nuts. You're getting a really tall 3-and-D wing that plays like a point guard. Like it's going to be such a good fit. And they drafted Markelle Fultz.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is not going to work. I said right away, this is not going to work. It's not going to work.
Week, we all heard about it. That Colangelo was in love with Fultz all week, dude. All week.
Right. That was such I kept saying, I was like, if they trade to number 1, it better be for Jason Tatum. And when they traded to number 1, I was like, if they get Jason Tatum, Philadelphia's going to dominate the East for the next 5 years. At the time, obviously, we didn't know that Kevin Durant was going to team up with Kyrie and James Harden, and we didn't know LeBron was going to Cleveland and then leaving, and we didn't know a bunch of that stuff. But I said, if him and Embiid are on the same team for a decade, they're going to dominate the East. It's going to be ridiculous. And they drafted Markelle Fultz.
It's brutal,
and
man.
He was like, the comparisons to prime Derrick Rose were just way out of pocket. That made no sense. If you looked at his game, he looked nothing like prime Derrick Rose. Nothing. Nope. The explosiveness was good. It was nowhere near prime Derrick Rose or UCLA Russell Westbrook. Like it was nowhere near that. The athleticism was not there. What he had was elite touch around the rim. That's what he had. But in the conference that he was playing in, like he got away with that. And I was like, bro, you're not going to get away with that when you're playing big time NBA guys. You're not going to get away with the way that he plays the game. Because his jump shot was okay, but like his passing vision was mediocre at best in college. And it was all about beating people with speed and beating people on the drive. And like You can't, that doesn't translate for everybody to the NBA. Like you look at Russell Westbrook in UCLA, you're like, that guy's going to do that in the NBA because he was jumping over 7-footers at UCLA. Like that, whether they're 7 feet in college or they're 7 feet in the NBA, he will jump over you and dunk on you. Like that doesn't matter. He will do that in the NBA, and that's what he's done over his career. Markelle Fultz was not doing that. It was all about his touch around the rim. And I was like, they need to get Jason Tatum. They did not drop Jason Tatum. I was very disappointed, but
I was screaming, man.
The same time, that was a rough go when it came to prospect development. You can't really like put the blame on one individual for that, because on the flip side of that, while I already had the gut feeling about Markelle Fultz and his game, like I thought Markelle Fultz would be like a solid 6th man in the league. That's obviously not not what you want with the number 1 pick. So right. But exactly. But even for example, like in terms of prospect development, I don't know if he got everything that he deserved, because you look at Jahlil Okafor in college and he had everything of a promised big man, like longevity, a really good career, touch around the rim, half decent defensively, like nothing crazy. Like he's not going to stifle you down there like a Rudy Gobert, but like, and even then Rudy Gobert is overrated defensively, but anyways, like he's not gonna like stifle you down there, but like he'll be okay, like he'll hold his own. And I don't know what happened, bro, but that was such a colossal disaster when it came to Okafor. And that I don't know if I could blame entirely on the player, because when you look at what he was in college, there's no way it turned out to be that bad. Like that was just, I don't know what happened there. And maybe the same thing happens for Markelle Fultz. But what I do know is that Tatum was the clear best pick in that draft. We knew it at the time. And when they traded up to get him, they were just so obsessed with getting and you see that a lot. The league that does that the most outside of the NFL, because NFL you draft a lot for position eligibility, but the NHL does that a lot. Like people covet elite centermen and right shot defensemen, right? Like it's like a known thing in the NHL that like if you can build your team from the net out. If you have an elite goalie, gotta get some good Ds, and then you need elite centermen. You look at all cup winning teams; they all have elite centermen. And I know this living in Montreal, like drafting Jesperi Kotkaniemi 3rd overall, drafting Alex Galchenyuk 3rd overall, like that for me was the exact same thing what Philly did with Markelle Fultz. It was like, okay, we have Embiid, we need a point guard. Okay, but he's not the best player you're at number 1, you take the best player in the draft.
No doubt about it.
You take the best player in the draft. You don't care about positional fit. And that's what I was saying about Minnesota. People were saying, oh, Anthony Edwards fits better with D'Lo and Towns. I don't care.
Doesn't matter.
I don't care. You're getting a guy that's on a rookie contract that's on your team for 4 years. D'Angelo Russell can be traded in the offseason if you want to.
Yep.
You have the 1st overall pick. You are dictating whether you are going to be a bottom feeder or you're on a path to rebuilding for the next 4 years at least with this one pick. And they go and take Anthony Edwards. I can certainly guarantee you that if the draft was today, Monday, March 7th, LaMelo Ball would go number 1 overall in that draft.
Think so?
And that's the way. Yeah, you should. Like, imagine getting a pass-first point guard like that can shoot the 3, that has elite court vision. Those don't grow on trees.
True.
And when you have a guy like Towns, imagine pairing LaMelo Ball with Towns. That would be like, trade D'Lo if you need to. It doesn't matter.
I agree.
Like that for me is you're at number 1, you take the best player in the draft. Doesn't matter if you have an elite, like if you have an elite center, let's say you have Joel Embiid and you have number 1 pick in the draft, you can't take a center. I get it. Just trade back to number 2 and grab an extra 2nd round pick. Grab whatever.
Very easy to do too.
It's very easy to do.
Very
easy. Fine. If there's a consensus number 1, that's a center. Like for example, in DeAndre Ayton's draft year, everyone knew DeAndre Ayton out of Arizona was going number 1. And you have Joel Embiid, for example, that's fine. Just trade back a spot. But other than that, you need to take the best player available, and Philadelphia clearly didn't do that when they drafted Fultz over Jason Tatum.
No. Listen, I'm reliving a nightmare, which absolutely sucks. And again, again, here's the worst part, right? So not only is Tatum balling out, and I knew when they traded Danny Ainge fleeced the Sixers, he knew if he didn't know they were drafting Fultz, he would never make the trade, right? So he knew they were going to.
That should have been a red flag.
Yes,
that's immediate red flag. Like anybody that trades out of the number 1 spot,
in
any sport, there is a reason for it.
I
And
agree.
unless you're giving them a million assets and you're trading with a team like the Houston Texans, who needs as many picks as they can get right now because that roster is in shambles,
Yep.
then that makes sense. You know what? You're like, hey, they want the guy at number 1, they'll sell it for the guy at number 5 because they need a million first round picks because that team's a disaster. Fine. But when you get a team like Boston that trades out of that number 1 spot, you got to think, okay, why are they doing this? Like, put yourself in their shoes, and Colangelo clearly didn't do that.
No, he didn't. And now I gotta watch Udoka
Hey, if we had to
there.
deal with Andrea Bargnani,
Right?
you have to deal with Markel Fultz. It's only fair.
Well,
That's
no.
only
Here's
fair.
the thing: I got to deal with Udoka, who was with the Sixers on the coaching staff, and now he's with Ball. Right, so now he's the coach of Boston. I got to deal with that too. So like everybody from Philly, it's killing me when I watch the Boston Celtics. So, but another topic for another day. Hey, I relived the nightmare today. Listen, I explained to everybody why I think I'm not a big Coach K guy. Sorry, B. And I see in the chat like, whoa, it is what it is. Not a look.
Brian's a Trailblazers fan, and
Yes,
picked
he's a
Odin
Trailblazer
over
fan.
KD.
Oh, that might be the worst of all time. That might be the worst of all time.
That one's tough.
That's really
that one's
tough.
an L. That you just got to take the L on that
Ooh.
one, and just
Man,
you just got to move on from that one.
you had
that's tough.
KD and Dame. Oh man.
Hey, also Pistons fans in the loaded 2003 draft.
Oof.
Pistons fans picking at number 2, it could have D Wade or Bosch or literally anybody. Anybody but LeBron. They could have had anybody in that draft. That was rough too. If there's any Pistons fan in the chat, my bad.
There's a
I
lot
feel for you. But you got a budding star in Cade Cunningham. So
that's true. You gotta look at the bright side, right?
Yeah.
You gotta look at the bright side. So let's look at the bright side. We get into some cores here. We'll get everybody moving. Listen, we like talking about regular sports as well. It ain't all about just betting. Get some historical feels. Unfortunately, it's a nightmare. So hopefully these cores and these value plays will help us win some Monday night, so I can stop shedding tears over what happened to the Sixers not long ago. So I'll go first here. It's only me and Ghost, and I'll talk about cores. And tonight, it was tough to me because I liked a lot of guys, and I was like, what am I going to do with my 4 players? And there's a lot of money on the line. I get it, but I'm going to spend big tonight. I'm going to spend big, and I'm going to go Jokic in this game. And I know a lot of people are afraid of him because of price tag, and I get it, right? That's why, listen, WinDailySports.com is why we have projection models. There's a couple guys there that you can kind of figure out what builds best, but this is one of those 60 to 70 point games for Joker for me tonight in that Golden State game. I really like the way this game is playing out, especially because they're home as well. I'm paying up for the 12-6. I'm just going to do it. Every time I go against him, he burns me. So, and again, this is going to be a 35 plus minute night tonight. Every bit of 60 to 65 DK points easily, I think. And he's got to get it, right, Goes? We talked about this before. So if you're going to pay for him, you can't give you a 40, right? He's got to give you that 60, 65 DK to get that 12-6 because, as you see, you're going to drop off on other guys. And again, I'm going him and DeJounte Murray. They're my 2 guys tonight that I'm going to build around. 1 guard, 1 center. I love the matchup against the Lakers. I know we talk about, I don't want to rehash it. We know why we like the matchups against the Lakers. You'll see that again in my props for profit as well. But I just love, especially Murray. Okay, he's a 3-tool guy, right? You know what he's going to do. But you just look at what he's been able to do. Listen, 58, 58, 45, 70. I mean, you take that one Memphis game out, this guy's averaging 60 plus DK. And he's 11-1. So I really like the price tag tonight against the Lakers at home, who really cannot guard on the perimeter. And I'm going to go tag team here with Keldon Johnson. And I like Keldon Johnson for the same reason I like Murray. I like the Spurs in this game. Johnson has been a very, very good play over the last 5 games. He's 32 plus. Okay, 32 plus. Okay, DK. 32 plus easily over 4 of the last 5. So, and again, you'll see props for profit why I like him as well in the rebound market because his rebounds have been pretty exceptional. Nobody scares me on that Lakers team. Bron had a great game. I get it, but that team is in shambles right now because of the Russell Westbrook factor. So, and then I'm going to go a little wild card here. I'm going to go DeAndre Hunter because when I'm building this core, I got to take a guy that I think, is going to be under that 5K range that I could slide in there. Now, obviously, you're going to see the FFVP later, which is going to help. But I like this matchup against Detroit, specifically for a guy who's playing 35 plus minutes. 35 plus minutes to me. And again, when you play maximum minutes, you have the maximum odds to produce. And I think that's what will happen tonight in Detroit. So again, 27, 25, 33 is 3 out of his last 4. So I really like this as being a 30 plus DK night for DeAndre Hunter. I think the Hawks will move the ball around a lot tonight. I think it'll be an exciting game for some young guys. So that's where I'm going with my core. Now, Ghost, right away, I love how I see the Harden name. I love it. I got to get excited when I see that.
Yeah, so just to keep it short, because it is what I pretty much wrote in the entire article, is commit to 1 game tonight, and talked about at the beginning of the show, the battle of the Eastern Conference heavyweights in Philadelphia versus Chicago. For me, it's Zach Lavine over DDR. DDR will likely outscore Lavine. I get that, but the point per dollar upside is absolutely huge. Like on FanDuel at 77, that makes no sense. And even 83 on DK, I'm very comfortable paying that. So with the amount of value that we have, a lot of people are going to jam 2 studs and 2 of the very high price studs. Harden, Lavine, and another 8K guy works just as well, right? So it's completely up to you guys. That's why I put both options up there. But either way, you need to commit to 1 game. And the other game, Tony's all over it. It's LeBron versus DeJounte Murray.
That's going to be a fun game. LeBron's
really
not scoring 50 tonight. I'm going to tell you that right now.
So that's the strategy to start the build. And after that, Jordan Poole is going to be a lock. He's going to be the highest rostered player on the entire slate, and rightfully so. The Warriors might even be down to 8 guys if Otto Porter and JTA don't play in this game. So he's got a ridiculously high usage rate with Curry, Wiggins, and Clay off the court, and Draymond off the court. The sample size is pretty small with Dre off the court, but still. Usage rate is 34%. It would put him in the likes of Trae Young, for example. Like, the usage rate is absolutely huge. He's going to have the ball a ton. He's going to take 20 shots. He's going to be the highest roster player on the slate. I don't care. DK really messed up. So did FanDuel. FanDuel's got him at 47. FanDuel messed up even more. So it just doesn't make sense. If he was 6'5", 7K, I would say okay. Like, we can maybe justify the fade for rostership. Like, it doesn't matter at 5.5 guys. You need to play him. And the 4th play, similar to you, I'm kind of going wild card with this one. I really like Dante DiVincenzo tonight.
Nova, baby.
The Kings are one of those rotations tonight that are quietly very undermanned. And no Jeremy Lamb again for the Kings tonight. They're down to essentially 7 guys and Rashawn Holmes, which since the acquisition of Domantas Sabonis, Rashawn Holmes has been pretty much inexistent in that rotation. So they're pretty much down to 7 guys. DV has been getting a lot of run, especially in these small ball lineups, with Trey Lyles being the guy at the short end of the stick coming off the court, and they're moving Harrison Barnes to the 4, which is what they should have always done. That's what we've always been talking about the Kings. That's what I said when Luke Walton was still there. Thank God he's not there anymore. That's what I said when they need to put Harrison Barnes at the 4 and go small with 3 guards. And they've been doing it, and they having a lot of success. The Knicks on the flip side like to do that too, because Mitchell Robinson is either going to play 36 minutes or he's going to play 6. There's no in between. And the second half of a back-to-back, man, the Knicks are coming off a big win. They're going to come on high. I like Sacramento in the spot a ton in a late game. Dante DiVincenzo at 4,500, and he's small forward eligible, which is absolutely huge because that position really sucks tonight. So if you're going Dante DiVincenzo, your DeAndre Hunter pick, for example, I kind of like going off the wall a little bit at the small forward position tonight.
I like it. And it's funny because, again, DeAndre Hunter was 4,700. I looked at DiVincenzo 4,500. I liked Dante tonight too, and I was just like, again, I try to throw some wild cards in there. So hopefully we'll both make out, and it'll make people some money.
For what it's worth, with the DeAndre Hunter play, I'm the number 1 DeAndre Hunter fan on the entire.
I know, yeah, that's right, you are.
And then Kevin Huerter just got ruled out, so it's not exactly like a massive bump. It's not like Trey got ruled out. It's not, you know what I mean? But still, it's
that's minutes,
more minutes for DeAndre Hunter in a very relaxed game environment. I'll put it that way to put some respect on the Pistons after bringing up that 2003 draft earlier.
Yeah. I think we gotta do it, man. I like it, man. I like it. And let's talk FFVP. We're both on the same page here. We just talked about, teams that are very thin, right? Now please tell me who else than Brandon Williams is going to be the primary ball handler tonight for the Portland Trail Blazers. Okay. So I think this is a very easy one. I don't think this is something that me or Ghost really analytically dove in. Not to say it doesn't go into it, but just looking at this price point, we just talked about building with top guys up top, right? So if you're going to get those 8 to 9 to 10, 11, or 8 like Jokic at 12, you're going to need guys like a Brandon Williams to fill out the bottom tier of the lineup. So, Ghost, is there any reason for you to believe that Brandon Williams doesn't get 30 minutes of ball tonight?
No, that's look, you guys know I'm very confidential with my minutes projections. It's something that I take to heart. I don't share that, but I'll do it for this. I have Brandon Williams at exactly 30 minutes tonight. And he's what I like about him, number one, he's a number one rated value play in my model tonight. So that's automatic that he's in my lineup. And he's just a very high usage guy. And when you look at Anthony Simons being out, it's much different than a guy like Josh Hart being out, because Anthony Simons can go out and take 25 shots. Josh Hart can take 25 shots. If they do that, they'll lose by 40. So they need Brandon Williams to take some shots here and step on the court and make a difference. And same thing with Watford off the bench. Like, if both these guys are coming off the bench, I'm A-okay playing both of them. Like the LBs and the Josh Harts and this and that. If other people want to go for the green check marks, I'm cool with it. I like the Trailblazers two-man bench unit, 1-2 punch there with Watford and Brandon Williams tonight. Very high usage guys, and that's what's important in games like this. Their team total will be low. It's not like they're going to go and drop a 120 piece here. Like
right.
It'll take them 3 to 5 business days to drop 120 points. So you need the guys that are high usage guys, efficient with their volume. That's what Brandon Williams is.
Yeah, I really, really, really like this pick. I do. I think this is going to be a good pick for us tonight. And again, make sure you follow us at Win Daily Sports. We're going to start some props for profit tonight. Remember, hashtags prop for profit. We're going to get an article going. There's one going right now. We're going to start getting some new stuff going in the coming week, where you're going to have an enormous amount of props to choose from all the members on the team. Ghost has got some crazy, crazy stuff that he's doing in the lab, which we greatly respect and appreciate, and you guys will too. So let's get to the hashtag props for profit, the most important part besides the core of the show. I think I rate cores being number 1, props being number 2, FFVP number 3. It's all about how they are produced. So I'm going to go again. Ghost has got me going this way, and I love doing it now, just sticking with your core and trying to find those secret finds. I told you I like Keldon Johnson tonight, right? Again, look at his numbers, right? He's hit this number 3 out of the last 4 games, and he's hit it by at least one, right? He's been 7, 7, and 8, except for that one stinker in the middle there, which I'm not going to count. For me, for plus money against, again, in this Laker matchup, there's no Anthony Davis, there's nobody there. I have no problem with the shots that Dejounte Murray's going to throw up, that Keldon Johnson is, and again, LeBron on the other side, and you're going to see the other guy as well, that he grades out well for me with a plus money bet for rebounds. Don't even have to juice this up. And then I'm going to stick with the same game. And I think this was a very interesting plus money bet when I go with the Malik Monk, right? So, I like this because we already know that there's some issues with Russell Westbrook. I think we all get it, right? And if you look at Malik Monk's numbers, just in minutes, he's 32 plus average over the last 3 games. They know. Listen, there's been a lot of stuff about taking Russell Westbrook off the bench. There's been a lot of talk, obviously. The LeBron just played out of his mind. You don't think LeBron's going to have a little bit of a minute drawback tonight? And not just that. With the minutes that Monk has been providing, you look at his 3-point percentage. All right, he's hit this number twice out of the last 3 games, but his attempts are what I'm looking at. You guys know me by now. Okay, I'm looking at 20 attempts in 3 games. The more he plays, the higher the percentage is going to get. He's going to be a 40% plus shooter from 3. So for me, this was a no-brainer plus money bet. And now I got an astronomical one, Ghost. Astronomical. You love the DK specials, and we come close every time. Look at this plus 2,000 bet. This is DraftKings exclusive. You go on there, it's on DraftKings. Now listen, You know I'm a Philly guy, and obviously there's some bias here, right? Because I love Tyrese Maxey, but I'm not throwing this up against the wall because number one, there's a couple things to take in consideration here. James Harden was off due to rest, right? Rest the hamstring, even though he was living it up in Miami. Obviously, we all know the deal, right? No secret there. But at the end of the day, Maxey gets better and better by the game. That being said, he went through a stretch. This is what I want everybody to understand. He went through a stretch. I did the research on this. January 21st to February 6th, he went on a stretch where the lowest he had was 6 assists in a game. Okay, the lowest 6, 6, 8, 10, 7, 7, 6, 6. This kid was distributing the ball. Now, James Harden comes, he takes a step back a little bit because now Harden is the ball handler, right? But he's still dropping dimes. Here's the thing. Again, it's plus 2,000, not because of the points, because of the assists. I think tonight you're still going to see Harden with a backdoor minute restriction that people aren't going to talk about. And I do think this will be a Maxey at least 5. So I'm going to sweat out that extra assist. So for me, Ghost, listen, his points are going to be there 28, 26, 33. That's 3 out of the last 5. So I really, again, not asking you to call 1-800-GAMBLER here, just saying there was a shot something like this can hit. So, Ghost, you going right to your PRA with Mr. DeJounte Murray. I love it.
If you didn't catch the cover graphic, I guess I'll call it, for today's article, go and check my Twitter, and you'll see why I like both of these.
There you go.
That's it.
Simple as that. Simple as that. And again, listen, guys, you know, right? You know, and please do us a favor. If you see this up here, you'd see the article drops at 10 a.m. every single day. I get it out. Everybody else is getting it out. Check it out. There's some great info, great insight there. There's no sense to rehash it. You see why. You know why. You follow us. You understand why, right? I like this. I like this next one because it's a plus money bet. And Tobias is starting to find his way a little bit, Ghost. I like this. I like this a lot.
There's always these out of left field bets that everyone knows I'm not a trends guy, right? Like I'm not a over their last 3, over their last 5, anything like that.
That's me.
And the model has this one high up there in terms of plus EV, and I'm going for it. Yesterday was Royce O'Neal, and I texted my boy and I said, "We're betting on Royce to 5'9". Like, are you sure?" And he goes, "Bro, gotta do it. That's what it is." So we always go over the sheet, and that's what it is. And we bet Royce over 4.5 rebounds, and he got it 10 minutes into the game. So I don't know what this thing knows. It likes Tobias over 2.5 assists. I'm going Tobias over 2.5 assists. If you want a safer one, let me just check my sheet here. Try and go plus money or as close to it. I like Eubanks over 7.5 rebounds. I don't know why that's plus money. At least on one of my books, there you go. So hopefully Adam's looking at the sheet too. He has access to the sheet before he gets on the site. So Eubanks over 7.5 and Embiid over 3.5 assists as well. If you could find it at plus money, I like dipping into that profit as well. But Tobias Harris over 2.5. Joel Embiid over 3.5 assists, respectively, and Eubanks over 7.5 rebounds as well.
A lot of Sixers love tonight on a prop market. And again,
Chicago's been a disaster in terms of assist rate allowed on bucket complete. Like I call it bucket completion percentage there, like basically on every made shot. Their assist rate allowed has been atrocious since Lonzo's been out. So it's going to be big, man. And with how bad their interior defense is, they're going to be keying in on Embiid. The Embiid assists are looking good too, and I like Harris assists. I think they're going to be moving the ball really well tonight, Philly. So it's assists all around.
I saw earlier too. Harden was plus money over 2.5 threes. I think plus 125, which again hasn't moved again. So I really like that number as well.
By the way, I meant to send you that clip. There was a step back 3 and their comeback win against, who was it? Who were they down to? Were they down to Cleveland? Was it the Cleveland game?
Yeah,
They were down. They were down big to somebody. Who were
okay.
they down to? Was it the
They were
Knicks?
down to Cleveland. They were down
It was
21.
Cleveland, and then they took over in the third. Maxey was hitting
Yep.
threes hard. But it was back-to-back possessions. James Harden hit the step back three, and all I could remember was on the show that we were talking about it, and I was saying that like it's the most unguardable thing in the last decade. It's nuts. And he goes and hits 2 in a row like that. It's so fun to watch. He's gonna get at least one like that tonight. He has to.
I know, man. I can't wait because it's funny. I'll close on this, and I don't have any video of this, okay? But I played 1-on-1 against my 15-year-old son, and I hit 2 step backs yesterday. I was pretty proud of myself.
That's big. That's big
2.
time.
And he was getting mad. He only beat me by 1. I'm gonna throw it out there. He only beat me.
Probably hit more shots than Cork in a series. That's
right.
Sure.
I like that. I was, and my shoe game and hair game is better than Cork as well.
There you go.
So, yeah. So I got the trifecta right there. But listen, man, we're gonna get out of here. Everybody at Win Daily Sports is where you find us. Follow Ghost on what is it at Bets by Ghost. You can follow me at Ticatilla23. As always, we're always available through Discord. Follow Adam in their Discord as well. Answer all questions. Shout out to him for taking care of the chat in YouTube. So everybody, hopefully tonight is profitable. Let's make some money. Again, check the hashtag Profit for Profit, hashtag FFPP. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy. We'll catch you right back here tomorrow night.